Hey everyone, it's me, Doomlink, and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. I've just had a big meal, and I tend to avoid doing that before recording for the reason that usually I'm a bit slower, mentally, and it just generally does not... It's in no way conducive to a good commentary, but I'm doing it anyway. I actually did it last night as well when I was recording the last part. And, I mean, it wasn't great initially, but I think that was mostly down to the fact that I wasn't really used to doing commentaries at that point. It sort of felt a little foreign to me because it had been a while, and then I got in the groove again. I hope you are... Hold on, I will take a drink. I hope you appreciate the fact that I have already improved upon the recording setup. It obviously wasn't good enough in the last recording. I wasn't impressed with it at the time. I think what I was particularly unimpressed about was the angle that it ended up being. The tripod was high and angled down. It gave a weird perspective on the boom stand, and indeed much of the boom stand was visible. I didn't really like that. In other words, the microphone stand. It just didn't look great, and quite frankly, the way that I have it now is once again a return to an older style. There was one time, I think for a period of about 4 to 6 months, about 2 years ago, when my microphone was in this same position, sort of coming out from the side of the screen in this way. What's good about this is that you don't see as much of the microphone. You just see the end of it. It probably looks a little strange to have it disappearing into the ether. But, again, it's in no way, how do I say, intrusive. So, yeah, at least in my opinion. If you would consider it to be intrusive like this, then just consider how much worse it could be, that's all I can say. I don't know why... Twitch is very interesting. It's saying that I'm offline, but I'm actually watching myself live on Twitch. Twitch, you really are a special kind of thing, you know that. The only reason why you're not a really special kind of thing is because we have YouTube to compare you with, and YouTube they're on another level entirely. I'm thoroughly convinced of the fact that YouTube is designed by monkeys, whereas Twitch is actually designed by humans, but possibly of monkey-level intelligence. That's what I would guess. That's my assumption, based on my personal experience. Alright. Now, sorry, I don't want to make any adjustments that would harm your ears, but I'm just trying to get my microphone in a good position. That seems natural and comfortable. Yeah, I'm just making sure everything looks good. It does. I'm happy with it. I'm also alright with the position of the webcam right now. It's about at the same level as my face. It's just slightly below eye level. And yeah, it's not pointing down at me in a strange way. I think if you're going to have it angled down, it needs to be really high up so that it's obvious that it's angled down. If it's not really heavily angled down, it's not obvious and it actually just looks a little weird, so yeah, I hope that this is an improvement. I'm almost certain that it is. Alright. Let's go and do some hunting, shall we? What's up? Hey Vernon, good to see you. Welcome back. And I will subsequently welcome myself back as well. Oh peace, well I don't have much choice in the matter, I've only got 2 rooms to join. I'll take the one with more people, I think. Hope I'm doing better than you? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what's happening, but I hope things get a little better for you soon. Well, thank you very much for the subscription. This is 10 months now that Vernon has been subscribed to me. What is going on? This is only one of 2 rooms that I'm able to join. Oh, okay, so it did successfully transmit data. Very well. Yesterday when this happened, I did actually fail to connect to the consoles. If it is taking me this long, then I'm going to have really bad connection to this host. He's obviously from Europe, or at least from somewhere quite far away. As I explained in the previous video, I no longer have to contend with poor connectivity between my switch and my modem router, because, again, I was using Wi-Fi at quite a distance from the access point, but now the Wi-Fi modem is right there. So it's actually, I say right there as if you can see it, it's very close to my switch. So yeah, wireless connectivity is perfect. So basically any issues that I have when it comes to connecting with people here will be by virtue of the fact that that person is geographically distant from me to the extreme. Vernon, I do have to say that I'm really sorry to hear that. This is a very dark point in your life right now, and while it can help to address it, sometimes it can help to just equalize your own emotions and state of mind by focusing on something else. I think for you, it's very important to focus on getting better, and again, my sincere condolences to you, and I know you'll get through it, but it won't be easy. There's only so much that a person can say because I'm not personally in your situation, but yeah, I'm very sorry to hear it. Well, I'm glad that there are many more options now. As for options that would be appropriate, maybe the turns room, yeah, that is assuming that it is still available, it might not be. But of course, I'm much happier with this setup. It's still foreign to me. I was complaining for most of the previous video about how this new setup is rather foreign to me. But this feels better, and while it's still a whole lot of stuff in front of me right now, in my immediate peripheral vision, as opposed to the side of me, I like seeing things improve, at least when it comes to the final result. So I feel somewhat emboldened by that, and I'll push through and try to be basically non-distracted. Yeah, it is weird not hearing Bob the Builder. Imagine what it's like for me. You guys only had to hear him when I was recording. Imagine having to live next to the little motherfucker. He is gonna have to live with not disturbing me anymore. I have to assume that he got some degree of pleasure out of it. Well, he's gonna have to travel quite a distance to turn on his power tools in my vicinity. I'm going to bring a lance because I'm in a lance kind of mood right now. You know what? Let's go blunt lance, and I'll bring the basalt venom, as I recall it being called. I don't like using terms back to back that actually contain the same 3 or 4 letters. It's awful. Recall and then call. Anyway, thank you for making it clear what you were referring to, Doomlink. I think everyone worked that much out, but, you know, you've eliminated any ambiguity that may or may not have been there by explaining yourself quite unnecessarily. Alright. One thing that I will say is that, particularly when I'm recording during the day, as I am now, I am going to have to deal with pretty uncomfortable levels of heat unless it's during the winter time, because for much of the day, at least until maybe 2 or 3 in the afternoon, the sun is basically beating down on my apartment, and I'm on the top floor, and it really heats up, and yeah, it's one of these awkward situations where I can't, you know, open the blinds and open the windows, because then that has the sun directly on me, which heats me up even more. So, you know, airflow is still fine. I'm not going to get into the specifics of airflow, because I do have that basically sorted out at all times, but yeah, as far as trying to cool down by somehow opening a door to get more airflow, not really an option, unfortunately. But anyway, the point is, what I was really trying to get across there, it does relate to my recordings, is that if it's during the day, I'm going to be pretty hot while recording, and I am at the moment. Like, I only just started and I'm not feeling especially comfortable. I was fairly uncomfortable yesterday, and it was during the evening, so yeah. Summer is not a fun thing. Where the hell is this monster? I know where this monster is, and I'm going the long way to get there. But whatever. Thankfully, we do have Kazri with his signaling. Indeed, 2 people with the flashing monster eye would have been profoundly insufficient to indicate where the monster is located on the map. Yeah, I would have been thoroughly confused. But because he signaled, I no longer have to worry about being confused. How far did I move from where I was? I wouldn't be able to measure it in distance because I don't know, but I can say that it takes about... oh... how long would it be? About an hour to drive from where I was to where I am now. So... yeah, I mean, if Bob wants to get in the car and drive for an hour, he can get over here and turn on his power tool, but... I don't think... no, it actually wouldn't have much effect, because... yeah, my walls are very thick, so I don't really hear much of what goes on outside. So yeah, Bob has met his match. I like how they've both got the same cloak, those two. Those 2 gunners, they must be friends. You can see the lovely input lag as I hit the weak point. I've never understood that complaint about how there's no hit lag in the newer games. Of course, when I say the newer games, I'm referring to generations 3 and 4, because that other generation does not refer to Monster Hunter, it refers to Pseudo Monster Hunter. And they don't even call it a generation, so what am I saying? The point is that because hit lag was reduced from second gen to third gen, there was this, quite frankly, incorrect assumption that hit lag had been entirely removed. It has not been removed, and I've always noticed it. I do understand that if people get used to really heavy hit lag and then it's removed, there is a decreased level of satisfaction when hitting a monster. You know, if you get really used to that and then it's taken away, there would be a decreased level of satisfaction, because it has to be said that the hit lag in all the first and second gen games was insanely heavy. Like, your game would actually choke for a moment in certain situations. Like, if you've ever kicked a monster, a good example would be a dead monster. If you've ever used the kicking animation on a dead monster in, say, Freedom Unite, your game literally freezes for like more than half a second. That's how heavy the hit lag is, so that's just that game. And I suppose if you get used to that almost unreasonable level of hit lag, then you wouldn't be too happy if they reduced it. But for me, I don't know, I didn't really care so much about it. I did notice that it was gone when I went from Freedom Unite to try. Well, not gone, but obviously heavily reduced. But it didn't bother me too much. There was so much more that had taken my interest, you know. So many more things that I appreciated about Try. So many new implementations that I felt were a big step forwards for the series. I've just been... I speak along these lines for the reason that I've recently been listening to a lot of anti-third gen and 4th gen rhetoric. And a whole lot of pro-first and second gen rhetoric. Which is weird, it's like going back to 2010, 2011. But I'm pleased to say that communities where those sorts of opinions are put forward and argued still exist. I definitely need to heal myself up. It's important, this is dangerous, and I need to dive. I can't allow myself to die stupidly because we've already had a death. So great care must be taken. Very good. I'm aiming for the tail, not to necessarily break the tail case, but to deal good damage. And he's dead. Well, no, he's been captured. But that's pretty good. I shouldn't be surprised to see a hyper... That was a hyper... Unless... No, that was a G rank... I believe hyper... Duramboros? To think that we managed to deal that much damage to him in that short of a time with one of our team members dying and having to go to camp and come back, that's really impressive. I can see that one of them has the Duramboros heavy bowgun, which I do actually have. I crafted it. I used it in conjunction with the full Duramboros set. And the reason why I made that set is because the heavy bowgun is called Berg Basher, which is such a delightful name for a bowgun that I just had to make it and try to make use of it, but it wasn't that easy. Hello Ron Money, it's good to see you as well. I remember saying in my initial update video to say that I was moving house that 2 weeks in streaming terms is like an eternity. Well, that 2 weeks ended up being a month and a half, so yeah. I guess I'm basically this ancient memory of the past that has now resurfaced. Like some distant spirit. Well, thank you for that, Ron Money. And hello, Arixian. Good to see you as well. We are back in business. I will be recording most days. Expect that. I wasn't recording... I was probably doing 1 or 2 recordings per week prior to the point where I had to take time off. But I can assure you that I am back in full force. Provided nothing really crazy happens, I will be recording basically daily. 7 days a week. So, yeah. The reason why is because it is now more comfortable for me to record in the evenings due to my current lighting situation. The lighting that you see right now is basically the same whether it's night or day, which is quite encouraging. It basically incentivizes me to record in the evenings, and quite frankly recording in the evenings my time, which may or may not be good for you guys, sort of depends on time zones and sleep schedules, but because it will be much easier for me to record, it will be furthermore easy to record on a daily basis. Big, bad and woolly. So this is indeed a turns room. This is our second hyper monster. I don't mind that too much. Hello, Daigor. Ethan's here too, my god, it's a party. Did the notification only just go out or something? Well, it's good to see you all here. Yeah, I feel like the notification just went out. Because it went from just Vernon to suddenly an additional 4 people in the space of... No, sorry, 5 people in the space of about a minute or 2. But anyway. Gamoth, I think. Thank you. What's the message? No been watching since you started. Oh, I see. You've only just now decided to speak up and make your delightful presence known. Thank you. What am I doing? What would I like to use? Probably a... no. I don't want to use a bow. I'm always using bow against Gamoth. I don't know. I don't want to use a gun because... oh no. 2 of the gun users... Don't know why I had to... What's going on? Oh, Kazuri left. Okay, that's fine. Don't know why I had an Irish R in that previous... word that I spoke. Some people would call it the American R, but you guys got it from the Irish, so shut up. Arr, I'm a pirate. Yeah, blunt greatsword sounds good. Let's go with that. I'm in a bit of a mood. Is that the sound of my Switch, like, going into overdrive? I swear that's the sound of my Switch getting very overheated. Is that really? I think it is. Well, good luck, Switch, seriously. Sounds like a... yeah, sounds like a Switch going into overdrive trying to cool itself down. And now it's okay again. Well, that's cause for concern. Hopefully I don't have a repeat of the situation that I had with my Wii U where I had to open it and clean it out because dust was covering the air vents. That was not good at all. I don't know if you guys remember that. I was trying to play Breath of the Wild. I think I'd taken a big hiatus from Breath of the Wild at that time. Then I wanted to start it up again. I think it was a 4-month hiatus if I recall correctly. And then I would launch Breath of the Wild and my Wii U would overheat within about 60 seconds. It would actually shut down because it was loading into... I think I was standing in the rain and the Wii U was just like, nope, cannot do this. Absolutely cannot do this. And it was entirely due to the fact that the air vents were covered. It just couldn't get enough air in. I don't really want a 3-man, but... oh wow, look at that weapon he's got. Dual blades, but it's only one blade. Well, that does rather change the game, doesn't it? Oh, hold on, Zaxxord's here. Hold on, we must let Zaxxord join. And yes, Daigor, you can see that even in a Twitch chat, Yells is still typing pro. There was a time, I can assure you, when he used to communicate properly, but now it's just Shabu and pro, that's all he says. His vocabulary has been heavily curtailed and dangerously simplified. Ugh. It's bloody hot. Time changes people. Well, usually people evolve, but he's devolved a bit. More than a bit. I'm in the secret area here, but I don't really want to hang around. I've got a Gamoth to hunt. Also, one thing to mention, when you've got long hair, it's a bit... what would otherwise be hot becomes a lot hotter. Because hair does that, it heats you up. Hello, Potato, good to see you. I'm glad that everyone's here. No doubt there is an expectation that I will be recording at this time of day rather than in the evenings as I did yesterday. But whatever, I will be mostly recording in the evenings now. I will, on the weekends usually, record at around this time, and also earlier. But during the weekdays it works much better for me to record in the evenings after work. So I will be doing that. I'm looking very clear, no fuzziness at all. Well, that's because it's much smaller. The fuzziness that I was referring to in the update video that I recorded some weeks ago was because that webcam view had been blown up and made much larger. As I also said in that update video, it's never a problem when I have a small webcam view in the corner. The sharpness of the image is perfectly reasonable. Well, you need to not do that. See that attack? I knew that that was coming my way. I need to find a good thing to attack. I feel like the tail is good. There was a period of time when I thought the tail was good to aim for. But now I'm not so sure. Fuck off. I don't like going melee against Gammoth, but I also dislike using the same strategy against monsters over and over again. I'm usually going ranged when I find Gammoth, so I'd like a bit of a change. Damned if I do, damned if I don't, honestly. I do love Moonbreaker. So even if I get just the edge of the sword, at least that's damage of some kind. Of course, it's not in the sweet spot of the greatsword, but it's better than no damage at all. I suppose the trunk would be the most damaging thing to aim for, but that's also the most dangerous thing to aim for, as is the rather sensible balancing of this monster. It's what one would expect. It is quite unpleasantly hot right now. I'm going to not draw too much attention to it, but if I seem rather hot, of course temperature-wise, it's because I am. But if I don't look that way at all, then feel free to ignore what I'm saying. I probably shouldn't be doing draw attacks. I don't have a guaranteed critical hit on that. It's very good to be able to... oh shit. It's very good to be able to get critical hits off with this much damage though. 434 raw damage and I'm also getting critical hits. That's very nice. Of course I don't have much of a sharpness multiplier, but it's fine. Are you referring to Gammoth when you say that, Yells? He is a very large monster. Because... I would say that, quite frankly, he's one of the largest monsters of the series that's not an Elder Dragon. He's just unreasonably large. I find it very hard to judge what is a gold crown and what is a small crown with this monster. I suppose if you had a really small one it would be obvious, but as far as gold crown large, yes, he does have crowns. He is a normal monster. The only monsters that don't have crowns are, well, I suppose there are exceptions to this in the older games such as Shen Galden, for example. Shen Galden is not an Elder Dragon, but he only has one size. This is not a special monster that only has one size. His size does vary, so... What I would say though is that even a small Gammoth would look pretty damn big. Come on. How the hell he missed that, I don't know. It is worth saying, obviously, that the pitfall traps do look way too small for this monster. There you go. Probably could have gone for Brimstone Slash. Very annoyingly, I'm being pushed out of the way by the movement of Gammoth's head. Please hit me, Gunner. Or not. I really should just exclusively use Brimstone Slash as a counter-attack. It can be dangerous depending on what you're using as the counter. You know, the attack that you will counter, that is to say. Ow. Again, this is hyper, so that fucking hurts. Yeah, it can be very dangerous, especially if you're dealing with a hyper monster as I am now, but at least you don't have to worry about missing it, usually, if you use Brimstone Slash as a counter. I've demonstrated that a number of times. It's actually very, very satisfying to get it off as a counter. What I also like to do is have teammates hit me while I'm doing Brimstone Slash. Basically what it does, for anyone who's unfamiliar with this fact, is that it not only powers it up, it also allows you to get it off faster. I didn't personally think that it powered it up. I felt that that was a little bit too broken. I felt that, you know, it would be the same damage but you could get it off faster. But to think that there would be benefits in both regards, in terms of damage and speed at which one can get it off, that's really impressive. And also, well, impressive in the sense that that's an impressive amount of damage. Whether or not I agree with it balancing-wise is a different matter, but I'm not impressed with the nature of its balancing, but yeah. As far as the amount of damage, that's pretty crazy. But it obviously leads one to prefer to get flinched either by a monster or by a teammate while performing it. That's why I was saying, please hit me, Gunner, please hit me. Fuck off. This is one of the reasons why I don't like to go Blade Master with this guy. Okay, that is a limp. I don't know if we want to kill it or not, but I'm going for the kill for now. Can't fucking see anything. It was my choice to run underneath him like that, but I got pretty confused pretty quickly as to where I was going. Looks like we are going for the capture. I just saw someone shooting, and by someone I guess I mean this Miles Black guy. Could be Miles, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the term. But he was shooting trank shots. And he's going to have to shoot another, yeah. Right on cue. Nicely done, team. I don't know if that's an attempt to heal the Gammoth. Of course it isn't, but it would be funny if that actually had that ability. In fact, rather than funny, it would be very annoying, but it would definitely lead one to take care as to where they're placing it. That would be an interesting way to balance that particular item. I've never used those. I'm not much a fan. Gammoth Pallium, that is my 12th. Yes, I am playing with randoms. Basically, the game has its own servers, and I can go into a list of rooms and select the rooms that I want to join. This room has an objective called turn. It really should be written as turns, because turn is singular, and there is not one single turn taking place. There are many turns taking place. Turn, of course, referring to us taking turns choosing the quest that we want to do. This is the typical objective setup for random rooms in this game. People just taking it in turns, posting what they want to do. And that's what this room's doing. Fuck off, stop. I don't want mega bug nets right now. But yeah, the reason why I'm recording this game is because I do actually have to shift the position of my PC in order to be able to record it. That's not much of a big deal. It's basically, I just need to swap my PC with my hard drive enclosure on my desk. If I swap those around, then I'll be able to record it comfortably with the HDMI cable that I usually run between my PC and my second display, which I'm currently using for my Switch. But yeah, as it stands, it's actually more than 5 meters away from that display, and I only have a 5 meter cable, so yeah, rather than getting a new fucking HDMI cable, and it's so fucking close. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get a 6 meter long HDMI cable as I understand it. I'd have to go all the way up to 10 meters, and that's just beyond stupid, so it's much better that I just shift the position of my PC to accommodate... Oh, don't tell me it's my turn. Skip. I have no desire to post anything. What greatsword is this? How do you not know? This is like one of the most iconic greatswords in the series. This is the Akantor greatsword now. And it's not Jimberg above you, no. Thank you for the raid, Master Gamer 15. So, this Miles Black guy is the next person to select a quest. He's probably changing armor sets. Likely for whatever quest he's going to post, but he hasn't actually informed us of what quest it's going to be. Yeah, he's changing to bow. Of course, the most courteous thing to do is to let everyone know what quest you're going to do so that they can get ready while you're getting ready. It's just more efficient. And also just a nice thing to do. Anyway. Oh wow. Hello, Pablo. The Doomlink experience, yes, well. The Doomlink experience has begun again. It was on hold for a while, but it's back. It's back and with a vengeance. EX Red Helm. I think the last thing I used for EX Red Helm when I was last doing it was Greatsword. I might go Sword and Shield. And I will actually bring Death Grip. Provided no one else is going Paralysis, which it seems they are not. How am I feeling? I'm feeling very well. Feeling very good. It's good to be back in a recording environment. As you can see, the setup is a little different to how it used to be. I've had to position my webcam to the side of me rather than straight on. And my microphone, whilst being the same microphone as before, now has a foam windscreen on it, so that I can speak directly into it without having to worry about plosives. And also, the position of said microphone is different for that reason. So yeah, things are different, and it's going to require a little bit of adjustment for me, but I hope that it looks alright for you guys. That's what I hope. How many online players does this game usually have? These days, I'd say around 50. That would be my guess. Around 50. Now that might sound like a lot, but compared to an official Capcom server that's really pumping, that's nothing. Like, that's rather pathetic. But it is worth mentioning that 3 Ultimate has even less. 3 Ultimate's usually sitting at a maximum of 30, but more often than not, closer to 10 or even 5. The last 2 times I've actually checked 3 Ultimate, there were 2 people online, not including myself. So, yeah, that wasn't too impressive at all. And I'm not happy to see that. It saddens me to see 3 Ultimate on the way out like that. And I think we now have a definite date, don't we? That 3 Ultimate won't be playable. It's 2023. Well, it's not definite. But, you know, it is 2023. I mean, we can assume that we've probably got another year until we can't play it anymore. And this comes from the fact that I think it was rumored that there would be no more online support for Nintendo games by 2023 through the Wii U, which is pretty bad. I don't know how the 3DS Monster Hunter games fit into this, but that's not really important to me anyway. Caveinator? Oh yeah, that was your name. Caveinator, yes. Hello. It's been so long since I've seen you that I was thinking, was that really your name? Yes, it is. Caveinator. Still playing Roblox. Well, that's a nice dick shot. Ow. Did you see how much damage I just took? EX monsters, man. Thank you for the heal. Well, I'm ready for you. If you do your little run where you turn around and then do your big claw swipe, I'm ready for you. You better believe it. But yeah, I think it's quite obvious that I need to keep myself fully healed because some of the attacks of this monster are just unreasonably strong. You got Dark Souls 3? Well, that's good to hear. White Fang is dead, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know in case you hadn't seen it. Should have shielded that. Nope. It's far too soon for us to be having 2 out of 3 faints. Far too soon. It's not worth continuing. Because we would be doing this quest for at least 10 minutes, probably between 12 and 15, to get a successful quest clear, and I think we had 2 deaths in 3 minutes. Not worth it. Because of course the worst case scenario is having 2 deaths early on, and then having the last death just before we can kill the monster, and it's like a 15-minute hunt. I mean, that has happened too many times in my experience. Far too many times. It sounds unreasonably worst case scenario, almost like something that can theoretically happen, but wouldn't reasonably happen in the real world, but it does. I've seen it many times, and it sucks. It really sucks. Oh, the new Harry Potter game? I did hear about it. Look, I grew up with Harry Potter. I'm into it, I guess. And I wouldn't mind a good Harry Potter game. You know, I think back to the PS2 Harry Potter games, and I'm like, oh, I sort of deeply cringe, but I mean, those are games that I will have to go back and play on my channel, because I have every intention of intentionally playing bad games and laughing at them and having a good time. But yeah, as far as the new Harry Potter game, I think it's probably going to be good. It looks good. I haven't actually looked into it at all. I haven't seen any gameplay of it, but I've seen stills, and they seem pretty good, so... It's set in the 1890s, okay. Well, that's very assiduous of you, Pablo. I am in the Sydney time zone, which includes Melbourne, I believe, among other locations. But yes, I live in Sydney, so... As far as the exact time zone that is, I don't know, but I'm not doing EX fucking... I'm not doing it. Sorry, I'm not in the mood. But yeah, usually when you're selecting a time zone, it'll tell you where that time zone is in the world, but... Yes, I am saying that, David. Not directly, but you can draw that conclusion based on what I've said, yes. Eduardo, what are you doing? Just recruiting for any objective. Well, that's very specific of you. Shaking the rust? I suppose he's saying that he hasn't played in a while. As for how that relates to me or anyone else, I couldn't say, but apparently it's important enough for him to put it in the hub name. Charm Farm, Heavy Bowgun. Oh, this fucking guy. Is this the guy? I don't remember if this is the guy that I was having issues with. I can't remember if this is the fellow with whom I had what can only be described as quite an acrimonious relationship. I think that he is that person, but he might not be. The reason why his name is familiar is because I used to play with a guy named Sky in Hunsterverse, but it's of course not that person, but... I mean, it could be, technically. I haven't seen Sky in ages. Maybe he's playing this game, though. Maybe that's why he hasn't been on Hunsterverse, but... No, I don't think I'm going to go in and find out. Cuckoo, let's retry. Yes, it is almost exactly 1 in the afternoon right now where I am. That is my time zone. Alright, I'll join this room, fine. None of these rooms are really jumping out at me as being good. So... I'll just join this one then. Knight and Natalie. Is that a Seregios weapon? It is. A rare sight in this game. Again, I've said this many times before, but Seregios weapons were really quite popular in 4 Ultimate, and I can tell you that they didn't get any worse in this game, at least not as far as I'm aware. But no one uses them here. Just goes to show that it's all about trends and not so much about what's good or bad. But I don't use Sergio's weapons here either. And I didn't really use them in 4 Ultimate. The only one that I used in 4 Ultimate really was the light bow gun, and I'd like to think that it's fairly obvious as to why. But anyway, Supersonic. Well, I'm pleased to see that it's not the event quest. I have no desire to do the event quest right now. Fuck that. No, thank you. Alright, Charge Blade. It's been ages since I did Charge Blade last. I wonder if I can even remember how to use it. I think of all these, which one is going to be the best? Maybe Raja? Let's do Fatalist. Some fellow named Effects was not impressed with what was on the board. Why, I don't know. Here's hoping that Natalie is not AFK, because if she is, I'm going to be sitting here for a while and I will be achieving nothing in so doing. Which small and large monster do you feel like you have not fought as much and would like to eventually hunt? I suppose I would have to look to subspecies from 4 Ultimate, because while I did play a decent amount of 4 Ultimate, I haven't been playing it recently, so I'd like to fight the 4U subspecies. You know, monsters like Tidal, Najarala, Drill Tusk, Tetsukabra. What's Knight doing? But yeah, monsters like those. No, not Drill Tusk, sorry, I'm thinking of Berserk Tetsukabra. Drill Tusk is the Deviant, I apologise. He was called Berserk Tetsukabra, wasn't he? Whatever the green fucking Tetsukabra was. I don't even remember. He was green and red, but anyway. I would enjoy fighting those monsters. I haven't fought enough of them. As for monsters that I haven't really fought at all, or actually haven't fought at all, I suppose that would be all of the Frontier monsters. While I'm not a huge fan of the Frontier system, and how that game generally works, I, like most other people who play Monster Hunter, would love the opportunity to be able to hunt those monsters. I think it's natural that a game that is filled with monsters that we've never hunted before, as opposed to monsters that just get recycled every fucking iteration in every generation of Monster Hunter, is actually quite appealing. So, yeah, while I'm not that into the ultra anime style of Frontier, and I suppose the monsters do actually contribute to that ultra anime characteristic of the game, I'd like to at least give some of those monsters a try. That really was the only enjoyment that I got out of Monster Hunter Online when I played that. There are a lot of fundamental aspects to Monster Hunter Online that I did not like. It was definitely a different take on the Monster Hunter formula. It wasn't entirely different, but as far as how you progressed through quests and how you forged equipment, it was all very experimental and entirely different from, say, what I'm playing right now. But at the very least, I did have the opportunity to hunt very foreign monsters. Very weird things that I've never fought before. Like giant insects and weird flying whale creatures. I mean, it was pretty interesting. And then on top of that, just to sort of equalize the experience out, you had Kutku and Rathalos and Urugan and monsters like those. I enjoyed Monster Hunter Online. Hey, Beans. No, this is not the event Valstrax. It never was. I don't think he actually posted it at any point. It was the... I said that I was glad that it wasn't the event Valstrax. But, yeah, he didn't post it at any point. I would have at no point agreed to do it. That I can assure you of. There are 2 Frontier monsters actually in Freedom Unite. It is Hypnocatrice and Lavazioth. And both of them originate from Frontier. But of those 2, only Lavazioth remained in the mainline series after Freedom Unite. I feel very out of sorts fighting Valstrax. It's been a while. He's not an especially difficult fight. Oh, whoops. No, stop that. But yeah, those frontier monsters are interesting. They were going to add Espinas, I think his name is, but they didn't in the end. You know, the one with the horn. Real specific. Oh, the one with the horn, yeah, I know what he's talking about. Why didn't he say so sooner? Yeah, well, sorry. Of course, the great range of Valstrax, really, is one of his points of difficulty. That was really my attempt to dive, but I was unsuccessful in achieving said dive, but there were no ramifications to speak of in regards to that failing. No. See, that attack there, it's like the very end of his spin will cause you to get hit by this ridiculously long thing, and it often hurts. Yeah, this is the white Fatalist charge blade. It looks pretty cool. I'm very impressed with the new designs that they had for Fatalist weapons. They fit perfectly and seamlessly with the original designs from first generation, and I think that's pretty impressive, you know, to 3 generations on be able to make weapons for the same monster for new weapon types that don't look like they were designed by someone else, or that they were designed quite some time after the originals. If you had not played first and second generation and only played fourth, and I don't include third gen because Fatalist was not in third gen, you wouldn't know that, say for example, the Fatalist Sword and Shield was not designed at the same time as the Fatalist Insect Blade. So I think that's a pretty good... Well, I think that's impressive. It's a laudable achievement that Capcom has managed. I should probably do some energy blades soon. But I think I might start with a Ripper Shield once I have expended these files. Can you stop? I need a Nullberry. I used Nullberry as a verb there. I didn't really intend to do that. I mean, I did, but I quickly decided that it was a bit dumb. That's pretty cool. You can't argue that that attack's very cool. Like, come on. Who's going to look at that and go, oh, ho-hum, boring. Joyless people would do that. I mean, there are people who look at Valstrax and go, oh, he's a rocket dragon, how retarded. Why would he be a rocket dragon? That makes no sense. Well, sometimes fun, while it doesn't cost it... I didn't intend for that. Well, sometimes fun can cost something. Anyway, I don't know what point I'm trying... Well, I do know what point I'm trying to make, but I do know that I'm not going to continue pursuing said point because it's not worth it anymore. I'm going to use Ripper Shield to get my files back, and then I'm going to use Energy Blade. This is very, very good of you to stay in one place, although you didn't stay in one place for long enough for me to get Ripper Shield out, so therefore I shouldn't be thanking you. I should instead be a bit annoyed. That was a very timely flinch, and I thank you for that. Off. I had my first time hunting Valstrax with Ethan, actually. Ethan, myself, and a friend of ours named Sam played the demo together, and we experienced Valstrax together for the first time. And we had good fun. I think there were a few failed attempts, but it was good. See, I wanted to hit the tail, not your fucking legs. That's one of the problems with Energy Blade. I think one of the most memorable moments of that first attempt at playing Generations Ultimate, or that first time playing Generations Ultimate in the demo with Ethan and Sam, was when Ethan equipped a bow, went into the quest with us using that bow, and said, in those immortal words, "How do I aim?" It's like, well, I don't really know what to tell you, man. How do I aim? It's only a fundamental aspect of the bow. But you know, he took it upon himself to go in there with a bow, so... What? I'm not shaming you, I'm just, you know... I'm reveling in a pleasant memory, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, he's cool. He's very much a Frontier-style monster, like what we just fought there. He's not actually from Frontier, but the way in which he's designed is very Frontier-esque. If you were to play Frontier, you'd be fighting a lot of those sorts of monsters. I still have a lot of respect for Generations Ultimate because I'm not forced to use styles. I don't like that they brought styles from Frontier into this game because, again, that really is the essence of the ultra anime bullshit that was present in that game. And they started to bring it over into the mainline games before they just streamlined it for random RPG gamers who wouldn't know a good Monster Hunter if it smacked them across the back of the fucking head repeatedly until they got a concussion. But yeah, because I'm not forced to actually engage with that system, I can use what's referred to as guild style. I actually have a lot of time for Generations Ultimate. As for Generations, no. No, that game was only on the 3DS, and fuck the 3DS, honestly. Maybe as a console it's alright, but not for Monster Hunter, no. I actually had a person who, with not a hint of levity, said that he would rather play, not that he would rather, but actually preferred and enjoyed more playing 4 Ultimate on a 3DS than emulated. Which actually requires you to sit back and actually really think on that carefully for quite some time before you can actually comprehend it, because that is a stunning degree of... Well, no, that's unfair. I'm not going to say that it's a stupid opinion or an uneducated opinion or anything like that. I mean, there are wildly varied opinions out there in the world on many subjects, but I can't comprehend that. I find that very hard to imagine, how a person would prefer that. Thunderlord 1? You've got some hide, mate. Go solo it or something. But anyway, it has to be said that 3DS is not a comfortable system to play Monster Hunter on. But that's my impression. Clearly there are people who don't agree. What can I say? Usually the people who don't agree are the people who started on the 3DS game, so they took the nature of 3DS Monster Hunter at face value, dealt with it, and are not bothered by it at all. Maybe that's why I don't have an issue with PSP Monster Hunter. Maybe that's why I can say that I find PSP Monster Hunter to be much more comfortable, despite the existence of Claw, as basically a requirement to enjoy the game if you're not constantly tapping L to snap the camera towards the direction you're looking. Can't remember how I actually constructed that sentence initially, but what I was saying was that I do find that to be more comfortable than using the 3DS, and maybe the reason why is because I started in the PSP era. That could be the reason, and, you know, I'm open to that possibility, and if that is true, then fair enough. Yeah, Ethan's hanging around. He's busy playing Rocket League. I haven't confirmed that, but I have it on good authority. Said good authority being my personal experience that he's playing Rocket League. So, he can't be talking all the time. I don't really want to shake the rust with that guy. Sounds like it could be a form of sexual innuendo. I understand that that's not what it's intended to be. I think I quite well understand what he means, but it just... As far as saying shaking the rust with him, that sounds like it could be I mean, I suppose that's my fault for phrasing it in that way. Let's move on. That was neither funny nor clever, so let's actually move on. Red Eye Jedi. Sounds like a name I would have given myself when I was 12. Or actually, no, younger. Younger. But even then I wouldn't have done that. I would have been a Sith. No, I was never much of a Star Wars kid. Never at any time. I wasn't like the Star Wars kid, and I would not identify as a Star Wars kid, retrospectively. I don't really want to help him. It's nothing personal, it's just I don't want to do White Fatalist. Well, I can guess that this is just the default message for Chinese players, because these are all the same. Unless they're all saying, I'm breaking the curfew, I'm breaking the curfew, I'm breaking the curfew. Yeah. Anyway. Hyper's deviant. With Crow and Shadow. Yeah. I'm just gonna hope that it's gonna stay Hypers, because I don't want to do deviants, but anyway. Yeah, the claw was not comfortable, but you got used to it, and it actually really helped me out when I started playing Souls games, because I actually do a double claw. I don't know if I can really demonstrate this to you, it's very hard, but see how I've got, these are my index fingers here. Now do keep in mind that this is flipped. This is actually flipped, as I'm sure you can clearly tell, but this is how I play, I play like this. But yeah, basically I use my index finger to use triangle, circle, square, and X, or cross rather, and the D-pad when playing Souls games, because it gives me that full range of motion across the controller. So, yeah, if you understand how Souls games work, you'll understand how that would be beneficial, and that's how I play Souls games. So, the PSP Monster Hunter games actually ended up being something of a... how do I say? It was training me to become a better Souls player. A more efficient Souls player. I don't know, Ethan. I've got no idea. And in fact, I probably wouldn't know if you didn't play it. I would be blissfully ignorant of what it was. Actually, no, sorry, I did have a friend who was playing it in 2017. I didn't know anything about the game, but he would always have playing Rocket League as his status on Discord back in 2017. So I would have known the game, but I wouldn't have known anything about it. So, yeah. And it is to my very considerable regret that I mention it as often as I do in my recordings, to be completely honest. It's almost a touch of... no, I'm not even going to say. But this Spawn guy, I actually didn't mean to sit down, I meant to look at your setup. Spawn. It's a weird name because it just makes me want to add an extra O in there. Or, you know, change the O for an I, or something like that. Like Spawn is just... Or swap the O for an A and add a W between the A and the N. I mean, it's just it's a word that is not a word, and it's certainly not a name, so... Oh, excuse me, maybe that's his birth name and I've just said something deeply insulting. But I don't know what culture would allow for Spawn to be a name for a child. It sounds a bit... I mean, I wouldn't even name a pet Spawn. Spawn just sounds... Well, it's not very nice, is it? It's a bit dry and emotionless. Sure, Ethan, really. What is this guy... What precisely is this person doing? He's hunter rank 53. He's 3 minutes in to... let me rephrase that. He has spent the last 3 minutes hunting a Glavenus. Hyper. He's got a full room waiting for him. What's he doing? He's either navel-gazing and playing with his foreskin, or he's actually trying to solo this fucking monster. Which is so unfathomably retarded, given the circumstances, that words fail me. Spawn is more moist than dry, in your opinion? I would have to beg to differ on that one. That would be Navel, Ethan. There's nothing wrong with navel gazing if it's Naval, because then you would probably be very much like your brother. For he is in the Navy. Ha ha ha. I'm very good at coming up with clever jokes. Sigh, Celtus Queen. This guy is not too... how do I say? He's not really ready to go. He's not a proponent of Celtus Queen. He's very much a... he obviously wants to be doing other things with his time, but he's not. EX only screams Mier. It's about what I'd expect. It's an HR 999 magnet. That screaming quest name. To start with, it's screaming, and that's the sort of intensity that Huntering 999s need in their life when playing Monster. And then second of all, as for the nuanced meaning behind what I just said, there's a lot of subtext in what I just said, and if it's lost on you, then you'll be very confused and you might think I'm rather stupid. Let's move on. The second point is that apparently Huntering 999s only want to hunt EX monsters. That's what I've come to realize, and I don't get it. If you're at the very sad and unenviable point in your generation's ultimate life, where the only joy that you can get out of the game is hunting EX monsters, it's time to go play an older game, I guess. Don't go forwards, you don't want to go forwards. Go backwards. Go play 3 Ultimate or something. Maybe even 4 Ultimate. That's what I'd recommend. Alright, I'll shake the rust with you. Okay. I regret to inform you, although you probably can't hear it, that someone is vacuuming in my stairwell. Which is good. It's the Sunday cleaning that takes place in my building complex. I just hope that it's not going to disturb this recording. I'm not going to sit here and complain that, you know, the stairs are being vacuumed. Oh, fuck that person for cleaning my building complex. But it does need to be said that it may very well... oh, actually, you know what? It's only going to disturb things while they are close to my door. If they go further down, it should be fine. That's what I'm expecting. This guy got so sick of waiting for someone to shake the... oh, never mind. He had departed with one other person and then that person left and now he's returning from the quest. Okay. In fact, the person who wanted to shake the rust was the person who left, so I'm out of here. I was here to shake the rust, but the guy who needed to shake said rust has moved on to bigger and better things. Maybe just playing the game as opposed to shaking off the rust. Tony as opposed to Tony. My hope is that his parents were not so acutely illiterate that they thought that a double N in Tony would be pronounced as Tony instead of Tony. If that is the case, then I suppose it would be okay to legally change your name to fix the grammatical error in it. That would be, in my opinion, entirely reasonable, and I'd do that. You can't hear it? Good. These jokes are beyond my understanding level, too sleepy for this. Good. Sometimes it's worth not understanding my jokes, because the thing is they come across as rather witty, but they're not. They're really not. They're witty if you don't understand them, and they're really not witty if you do understand them, so... But what I would say is that they're not worth the effort to understand them if you don't understand them. I suppose that's the ultimate point. Why is this the second person that I've found with angry eyebrows in their name? This person has named their room Tang Lang, which is precisely how that would be pronounced by the person who made the room. I do say that entirely sarcastically. It's a very rare case of a Chinese player actually writing in the Hindu-Arabic written form, and I'm sure there's a word for that. But, yeah. It certainly beats I'm breaking the curfew, I'm breaking the curfew, I'm breaking the curfew. But... you know what, this Lovac guy I think was the person who... yeah, whatever, I don't care, I'm not gonna dwell on it. Alcohol Boy. Okay, I guess I'll have to... oh, never mind, it's full, everyone wants to hunt with Alcohol Boy. It's an interesting name. That is an actual, genuine uwu, not like the false uwu that actually is the letters U, W, U. This is a proper uwu right here. So, this is a wild uwu, an actual Japanese uwu. Anyway, the point is I'm probably not joining because it doesn't look like a room that I want to be in. Yes. Sure. I don't know what's happening. Why does this always happen? By the time I finally get around to joining a room, I'm not able to join it. I believe the HR range of this room is 100 to 999. Which is lovely. I've been live for 1 hour and 11 minutes. Someone attempted to join, but was unable to join. Why does this always happen? I'm telling you that by the time I join a room, I just... okay. A person who named themselves after a monster is unable to actually write the name of another monster correctly in the room information. Unless it's a different monster that I've never seen before. That just happens to share a name with Nakakos. Or, not share a name, but rather have a similar name to it. I don't know why the options are so miserable here. Lao Zhang, yeah, Lao Zhang. Good on you. I don't know what to do. No, not Snow Baron 1. I regret that fulsomely. What I would say is that I had forgotten why I chose not to join it, and I decided to stop being a little bitch and just go in and do it, but no. No, not Snow Baron 1. That's where I draw the line. I'm doing all I can to find a room that's not shit. Well, just getting some water. To be honest, with my chroma key active, you can't really see the difference between white wine in a glass and water in a glass. So it probably looks like I just finished off the white wine in this glass and then just took a big fucking swig of white wine in another glass. Oh god. Yeah. That's how I like it. Go for it, Benjamin. He's using a classic longsword right there. And a not so well-designed armor set, but you know what? Whatever. He's technically got 3 armor skills. It might look as if he has 2, but he's got a skill that incorporates 2 skills. Hello. I don't want your guild card. No offense. Meat is murder. This must be an event Savage Devil Joe. Which means we'd better actually make sure we don't get hit. If we get hit, we're in trouble. I will bring a Thunderlight Bowgun. That would be a really good decision. Not only is it a hot location, so I can very easily take advantage of Resentment, the armor skill, but I'm also going to be dealing good elemental damage to this monster by way of thunder shots. And I will not be negligent. I will actually this time purchase thunder shots. Yes. I don't want your guild card Benjamin 92. I'm sure, I have no doubt, that me accepting your guild card would be... It would simply make your day, but no. Hello, A-Gaming. Weakener sounds good. I'm happy with Weakener. And Kickboxer, that's gonna make a big difference to my hunt. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll ready up, and I'll be back in just a moment, because I'm going to get some more wine. I've returned. I don't know what you mean by cannon build, A-Gaming, in Elden Ring. I've heard of glass cannon builds. I guess you mean just maximum damage. Cheap fresh wine or aged? Cheap fresh wine. I can't afford good wine, you've got to be joking. In fact, wine's not even worth fucking spending a lot of money on. A good spirit is worth spending money on, but wine? Fuck off. Like, no. Like a fucking good whiskey or a really good gin, yeah. Wine? Eat my ass. Like, I'm not some kind of bourgeois, upper class motherfucker. Oh. There is a weapon called the jar cannon that shoots ballista arrows. Okay. That sounds pretty good. Fighting Savage Devil Joe here feels rather strange. This feels like a bit of a 4 Ultimate venture. How dare you call Doom cheap? Well, I've unfortunately had to cheap out on my alcohol recently, but yeah, I haven't really been swimming in money. But I'll tell you what, I don't go for the $100 bottle of wine instead of the $50 bottle of wine. I don't think there'd be much of a fucking difference. And some wine connoisseur. I mean, I'm reminded of things like, the time a $10 bottle of wine won a blind wine tasting contest with a bunch of these fucking wine connoisseurs tasting them all, and there was, I think the most expensive one was like a $20,000 bottle of wine. And the cheapest was a $10 bottle of wine, and the $10 bottle won. Like, really. It just tells you that wine's a bit of a joke. I'm sure there are some wines that you would obviously taste and go, wow, that's cheap, and then others, not so much, but price does not always determine the flavour. You've got some aged whiskey from 1941, well, I'd cream in my pants if I could have a taste of that. Must be very heavy by now, though. Must be like 80% or more. Because as I understand, the more they age, the stronger they become. I'll tell you what, the last really heavy spirit that I drank was, I think it was around 70%. It was a rum. And it just wasn't enjoyable. Like, it actually caused, like, the acids in my throat to start coming up. Like, it just wasn't nice. I enjoyed it when it wasn't doing that, but my bodily reaction was just not positive. It's like, it was very tasty, and I enjoyed the strength of such a small sip of spirit. But again, like, my body was just like, what are you doing, man? Get this shit out. I'm sure I would have to develop a tolerance or something, but I don't know if I'd want to. I feel like that would actually be dangerous to develop a tolerance to something that heavy. I haven't really been paying attention to my play. And also, I did assume that it was going to be in the desert, so I was excited to make use of resentment, and I'm not in the desert, so I'm not making use of resentment, I regret to say. So, yeah, that's not happening. I'm trying to position my microphone as closely as I can to my face, without me actually eating the microphone. It's not something that I'm used to, so I apologize if it sometimes isn't close enough. As for what it means when it is not close enough, I'll let you work that out on your own. If it's not something you ever notice, then great. That's excellent. And I wouldn't seek to draw your attention to it. Alright, my damage with resentment in effect is 381. As opposed to what I believe is 360 something. So I'm happy with that. That's probably a bit dangerous. Oh, I can get through that. I mean, thanks for the life powder, guy. Now my damage is at 361. Fair enough. I haven't gotten through as much Elden Ring as other people. I haven't been playing it, and only it, and doing nothing else in my life except for playing it. But a lot of other people have been doing that. I work a full-time job, and I actually in my free time have been doing things other than playing Elden Ring, so on top of that, or rather with that taken into consideration, I actually haven't gotten through much of it at all. I've put 90 hours into it, but it's actually a really long game. If you're taking your time with it, 90 hours is probably only enough to get you maybe halfway through or 2/3 of the way through, sort of depending, I don't know. I guess the reason why I'm unsure is because I actually don't know how much more of the game I have left. But I seem to be coming towards the end of it. Actually, I need to ameliorate my negative status. Oh, that was very cinematic. If you don't know what I was referring to, then it mustn't have been all that impressive. So I'm not going to actually draw attention to what it was I was referring to. There goes Alark 27. I also add numbers in my name in the year 20... Well, I don't know when he made his account. But I mean, Benjamin 92 is a bit different. He would have been born in 1992, but... As far as 27... I think... Whoa! I think it's safe to say that he just added some random numbers. You know, we don't live in a world now where that's needed. Really. Radahn is your favourite boss fight from Elden Ring? I don't know if I have a favourite at this point. Alright, time to move on to regular Thunder. Level 1. Which used to just be called Thunder. This is the event, isn't it? I would imagine so. I don't believe that there's more than one Savage Devil Joe quest in the regular quest lineup. Fucking tail. Well, thanks for giving me some red health anyway. Prepare una trampa, says guy from country that is not my country. Well, I did make some attempts to go and throw some tranks, but whatever. In fact, who dropped that? The quest host was clearly trying to... I didn't mean to send that. The quest host was clearly trying to capture, so of course I was going to do what I could to capture for his benefit. If anyone's going to choose whether or not the monster is going to be captured, it would be the person hosting the damn quest. If it was someone else who wanted to go for a capture, well, fuck that person. That's not for them to decide. But if the quest host wants it, it would be nice to actually take care not to just kill the damn monster. Well, adding random numbers was necessary in the past because generally the name that you wanted was already taken, so you'd just add numbers and, you know, oftentimes out of sheer habit you wouldn't even try to see if your name had been taken or not. You'd just add numbers. Generally you would have numbers, like a particular set of numbers that you would put in because you remembered them. That's what I used to do. But for a Monster Hunter character, you can have whatever name you want. You can have like 500 people with the exact same name, so what's the deal with the numbers? I understand it if it's a habit that people haven't managed to kick, and I guess it's not something for me to judge, but it's just weird seeing it these days. I don't understand it. I wasn't attempting to pronounce it very well, Pablo, but I mean, it's nice of you to say that that was nice Spanish, but I know Spanish well enough to know that I did not pronounce that very well. And again, I hasten to add and stress that I wasn't trying to pronounce it well. I remember I was chatting with my Colombian co-worker some time ago, and we were having a conversation about the history of Colombia, I think. Or at least, you know, the history of Spanish conquest. And he was trying to remember the name of the Spanish conquistadors. Now, conquistador, we refer to them in that way. But of course, because that's a Spanish word, when I say it with my accent, he said it sounded really weird. He said I sound like a robot when I say that. And it's funny because I suppose that's how it would sound, but because we use that Spanish word, like that's just, it's not a loan word. We don't use the word conquistador in the English language, but we do use the Spanish word to refer to those people from the past. So I would imagine their pronunciation would be closer to conquistador, something like that. But yeah, I suppose if I just use my accent, it just sounds weird. So there you go. But he was surprised to find that we referred to... I mean, I think one of the reasons why he was struggling to think of the word was because he was looking for what the word would be in English, but we actually use the same word to refer to those people. Is that perfect? Where are you from, Daigo? Okay, well. I'm glad it's, as you would say, perfect. But yeah, I don't know who's choosing next. Is it a turns room? I think it is. Anyway. I'll just leave it to the host then. You're from Honduras? Okay. Fair enough. I didn't know. I think what helps me with Spanish pronunciation is that they pronounce their R's, and many countries pronounce their R's in the same way that the Japanese do. And of all the foreign languages in the world, Japanese was the first one that I really gave a good try at, and I continue to try and learn it. But just being used to pronouncing R's with that sort of, that particular movement of the tongue helps when pronouncing things like Spanish words. That rda sound that almost sounds to untrained ears as a D because it has a certain forceful characteristic to it. But yeah, it's the same in Japanese, of course. And as I say, in many languages, honestly, from what I've found. I'm sure... I don't know much about the history of languages, unfortunately. But as far as where we got our pronunciations, where we're like "r," for example, I don't know where we got that from. I don't know if Latin was pronounced in that way, or if some other Germanic languages were pronounced in that way, I don't know. But anyway, you've been studying Mandarin. Well, I'm not a huge fan of Mandarin for a number of reasons, but there's nothing wrong with studying it. It's a very... well, I don't know if that's an ancient language. I haven't really looked into that. It's probably evolved a lot from whatever they spoke in ancient times, but I'd say it's got a lot of history to it. It'd be interesting to study, yeah. Yeah, a big thing about me wanting to explore and learn a language is how it sounds. And Mandarin to my ears, when I'm used to languages like Japanese... no. Actually, no. It's nothing personal, or I don't mean to take a shot at anyone, it's just that I don't like the sound of that language at all. So, I have no interest in learning it. It might be quite advantageous for a person to learn Mandarin. You'd be able to communicate with a large part of the world, but... no, it doesn't grab me. Exactly. What you're saying, Daigo, is what my grandfather has been telling me, and my father, since we were both very young. He always said to my father when he was growing up, "Oh, you better learn Chinese, because one day they'll be running the world." So... yeah. What would I like to use? In fact, what the hell is the monster on the board? What are you using? This is not appropriate. I don't care what's on the board. It is not at all appropriate for you to be going in there with no armor skills. And needless to say, whatever is on the board... oh, Lao Shan Lang. Okay, fine, I'll do it. I haven't done a Lao Shan Lang in this game in a while, so... I guess I can do it. But I do have to say that I've done a lot of Lao Shan Lang. A lot. You are the weapon I want. My connection to the other players is obviously not very good. They must actually be from Spain. I'm pretty sure my connection to South America is better than this. As I've said in the past, at least on Hunsterverse, my experience with Spanish-speaking people are people from Spain, because most often those who connect to the official Capcom servers to play Monster Hunter are from Spain, if they're speaking Spanish. So, yeah, and that is furthermore outlined by my terrible connection to them. My connection to Europe is abysmal. And it really is ironic if you consider that the people with whom Australians struggle the most to connect to in online gaming are the very same people that we were always lumped in back when you had region-locked servers. So the Australians were always grouped with the Europeans for the reason that we were both, we both had PAL games. So all of our games were PAL, so I suppose they just communicated better between each other. And so we were always lumped in with the Europeans, and so we were doomed to not only connect to people who were terribly far away from us, but, that stereotype about Australians having shit internet is not a joke. Like, that's not based on a fallacy, that is reality. And you combine being on the other side of the world with whoever you're trying to connect with terrible internet, you wonder why we're so angry. Well, we're not angry, but we're definitely loud and opinionated, I suppose. I don't really like to identify myself with Australian culture. In fact, I generally prefer not to interact with Australians online. I try to avoid them. But anyway. I'm certainly opinionated, but I'm not as attention-seeking as some of those other Australians are. I don't know. Oh, whoops, I'm being an idiot. I'm so used to playing Freedom Unite with the Greatsword that I'm actually timing my Greatsword charges improperly. Yeah. That's what I did assume, Daigo. Shit. I don't like having Lao Shan Lung on his back legs already. But yes, in all games that came after Freedom Unite, holding your greatsword to the maximum charge, or what appears to be maximum charge, is actually taking you a step down. So the sweet spot is this timing, getting right on the level 3. If you just hold down the charge button until your greatsword automatically comes down, you've actually lost a charge level. I guess your hunter gets tired or something, but I actually think it's good to introduce that sort of balancing for greatsword. It adds a degree of timing to your attacks, instead of just holding the button until the greatsword comes down. I'm aiming for the head not because I'm trying to deal great damage. I realise that the head's not much of a weak point. I just like the head when I'm using a greatsword because it's consistent. I know that I can hit it pretty much every time. So that's what I prefer. Why am I doing this? It seemed like a nice idea at first, but I really don't want to have to fight this guy. Whoops, I nearly did it again. You know why I'm doing this? It's because I'm seeing Lao Shan Lung, so my subconscious mind thinks I'm playing Freedom Unite, but I'm really fucking not. So I need to actually time my greatsword properly. I'm not impressed with this. We're not even 5 minutes in. It feels like an eternity since we started this quest, to be completely honest. Yeah, well, no one was up there, so just stop. Just keep on walking. Get to the end faster. Do us all a favor. I'm about to get Brimstone Slash and Moonbreaker charged. Well, let's do some Moonbreaker then. Get this damn leg out of my way. Actually, you know what? I want that leg to hit me. Hit me. Yeah. Take that. While that's not really a weak point, I'm just happy to get Brimstone Slash off at full damage. Benjamin, this is your fucking quest, man. I feel far less inclined to complete this if the person who posted it is not going to be able to reap the benefits of the successful result. So I'm really not impressed to see this. The differences between 2nd generation Lao Shan Lung, you can already see that the fortress location is different. There are only 2. Oh, fuck off. What a waste of my time. Seriously. Okay, the differences between 2nd generation Lao Shan Lung, well, really, 1st and 2nd are roughly the same, so it's fine to just say 2nd. And 4th generation, specifically Generation's Ultimate Lao Shan Lung, is the way in which we deal damage to the monster while it's making its way through the area. So, Generation's Ultimate actually gives you access to more siege weaponry. Siege weaponry in 2nd generation is really only cannons and ballista. In the case of this game, you've got a few more things you can use to attack Lao Shan Lung with. I'm not really in the business of demonstrating that because I do personally prefer to attack the monster. As well as that, when Lao Shan Lung begins to move towards the next area, he cannot take any damage at all. So actually, when I was attacking him just as we were disconnecting, I actually wasn't dealing any damage. When he actually turns to go into the other direction, he receives this gold armor and takes no damage, and there's no indication that that's happening. You get this message on the screen saying go to the other area, but you don't assume that you're not dealing any damage because that's illogical. Why would you be dealing no damage? Well, that's apparently what happens. So, yeah, the map, that little thing, and the siege weaponry are the main differences. As far as what Lao Shan Lung does himself, it's basically the same. Yeah, well, no, Benjamin could have disconnected. The shame was the guy who disconnected because Benjamin disconnected. So now I've just wasted my time. Turns hub. Of course, it's always like this, but you know what? It might be better that someone who really needs something joins the turns room than me, who is just here for entertainment purposes. But yeah, I don't know whose fucking idea it was to make it so that you're actually attacking Lao and dealing no damage. That's just unbelievable. It makes no sense. Is this a joke? No. Not doing it. I just spent like 5 minutes achieving nothing in the last hunt, so I'm not doing it all over again. Armor crafting with TT, doing Valstrax. Help? Bolt Reaver EX? Yeah, you do need some help, don't you? But not from me. P1 pass? I think you can fit turns in there. There's no mention of the fact that this person's actually hosting a turns room. And I think the fact that Derek joined is indicative of that. But, yeah. I think he could have added turns P1 pass. I think there's enough space for that. In fact, I'm almost certain. Let's see what's going on in here. I can hope that this is a good room. It might not be. I realise that I spend a lot of... Fuck you. They didn't want to wait, so they departed with 2. Fine. But yeah, I do apologize for how much time I spend looking for a decent room. What's this quest? Let's hope it's G rank. There's no guarantee that they're even going to post G rank quests, honestly. Again, I can hope. I hate you all. I hate you all. They don't want to wait. No patience. Not a patient bone in their body, these people. Someone in the chat says, can you help me with this game? I'm new. If it's in the form of answering questions, I'm quite happy to do that. But as far as playing with you, I'm only doing G rank quests at the moment. So again, I encourage you to ask questions. I'm always happy to answer them. But if you're not in G rank, I'm not going to be able to hunt with you, unfortunately. Madoka doing Atalkar. Exia doing whatever that is. Of course. It's because Woomi's in the room. Woomi. Yeah. Woomi. Was this a room that I was already in? I don't think so. I'm starting to lose track of all these generic Chinese names in the hub. I say generic because I have recognized that it is the default, okay? I'm not saying anything that's written with Chinese characters is generic. Take it easy. Jeez. I have to make these clarifications. Some guy's going to be like, he doesn't like the Chinese language. Well, I think the written language is very interesting. I'll leave it there. Well, you lost your... Actually, no, you didn't lose your second person. You were not the room host. The previous room host left. So now I'm stuck with you. As for what you're doing, I couldn't say. And you know what? I'm not going to sit around waiting to find out. I'm taking the grass is greener approach. Liu and whatever you are. It's Tony again. Yeah, Tony. Let's do it, Tony. Why did I not end up hunting with you last time? Maybe we're gonna find out. I actually can't remember at this point. All of my attempted... Well, let's rephrase that. All of my attempts to hunt with people have been, by this point, fused into one. Oh, God. Ninomiya has joined as well. I think the character that I know with that name is from the Idolmaster series, Ninomiya Asuka, I believe. From the games, I don't think she's really been adapted in an anime or anything. But yeah, I think I'm remembering that name correctly. Elemental Gunlance sounds like fun. What's my Ice Gunlance? Must be Zamtrios, right? No, I've used Gunlance on you recently. I'm not going to do that. Alright, let's do Hammer. Well, I think, Ethan, we have quite clearly determined that he wanted someone to sit here on stream and carry him through the game. And as soon as he heard that I wasn't willing to do that, he moved on. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't say thanks for offering to answer my questions. I'm just a tool for his convenience. Because his experience is very important. Much more important than anything relating to my content creation. I should drop everything I'm doing and help him at once. I mean, why not? Why wouldn't I do that? It's difficult to imagine. Alright. So, I'm using a hammer on a Zinogre. Is this comfortable? It entirely depends upon the size of the Zinogre. If this Zinogre is too big for me to upswing the head with, yeah, it's not going to be good at all. It's going to be a sad time. I think I want to go this way. If I remember this labyrinthian fucking map correctly. Are you really mounting this thing with no one else nearby? I mean, I only just entered the area, but you effectively were going for the mount, while no one else was here to take advantage of the monster. Oh, well, that's extremely helpful of you to ping. Wow, I think we were all quite lost until you did that. Don't know what would have been done. I suppose we would have just remained in perpetual confusion. Honestly. Can I get the golf swing off? No, of course not. Actually, this is a good position for me. Well, it would have been a good position for me to get a golf swing off if I were on target with it. Incidentally, I was not. Sorry, Tony. My sincere apologies. Maybe my tone of voice would undermine the sincerity of it, but I don't take pleasure in hitting people with my hammer. Unless they're assholes. And I, at this stage, have no reason to believe that Tony is an asshole. At least not yet. Some guy is going to say, it's Tony Doomlink. Well, quite frankly, I wasn't the one who put two N's in the name. I'm not responsible for the incorrect writing of the name. I will pronounce it as it's written. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Pablo. It sort of depends. I'm getting a lot of opportunities to hit the head without actually going for the back leg, so it might be better to remain in position on the head as much as I can. I'll have to play it by ear, but it's a good recommendation. I'm sorry, Tony. You just happen to always be where I'm trying to hit the monster. It's a matter of coincidence. Oh my god. Can I get my golf swing off? I can. I would have, but he sped up his fucking charge attack. I don't know what that's about. Can't quite make that. You can see it was just not quite there, but maybe lag compensation dealt the damage. I have a feeling that it did. It seemed that he flinched right as I would have hit him. I'm not being unrealistically optimistic, I think that's entirely possible. But that was a lag compensation hit. This Ninomiya person is taking this hunt way too seriously. It has to be said. From the setup to the technique, I mean, it's all just pretty unnecessary, but whatever. Everyone plays differently, I guess. Yeah, that's a dead monster. Well, I don't necessarily think that Tony was going for the head. I was going for the head, but in a way that I was hoping that the monster would turn into me. Which is to say that Tony wasn't necessarily near the head when I was doing super pounds. So... yeah. This is not the fault of Tony at all. Longsword users who attack the heads of monsters while there is a hammer user present are both puerile and, quite frankly, wasting the oxygen of people who would be better off breathing it instead of them. But, yeah. Now, if they're completely unaware of the fact that there's a hammer user, that's a little different. But if they have taken note of the fact that there is a hammer user trying to hit the head and they persist in attacking the head with a longsword, wow. Words fail. What have we got? Worn bow? What the hell is that? Worn bow? I've probably picked this up before, but I can't remember what it makes. Worn bow. I forgot there was one. I'll take it. I might be having a mental blank, it might be really obvious and I've just forgotten, but... Worn bow. Let me see if I've picked one up. Because historically, the Teostra bow and the Kushala bow were not made through the rust or ancient paths. What have we got here? No, this is my only worn bow. What the hell does it make? I'll have to find out. I don't know how many earth crystals I have, but I hope I have a decent amount. It's hard to know sometimes. What the hell? I definitely don't have enough earth crystals for this, but I'd love to find out what it makes. At least I'll be able to see what... They've changed it. They literally changed it. Historically, you didn't need to do this to make it. That must be Teostra. Or, I would imagine so anyway. Maybe it's rusted bow to get Teostra, but... That's very weird. That's really weird. What would this be then? Some sort of ancient dragon bow? Very weird. That's rather revisionist of Capcom to do, but whatever. I have no intention of making this bow, so I'm going to not do that. I'll do one more quest. As for which quest it is going to be a fairly quick one. It is a regular Tigrex. And we're going to shoot on him. Absolutely dunk him. And I'll bring an insect glaive. Because I do think it is time for me to use that. Hey Ethan, I'm going to call you when I'm done with my live stream, by the way. Because I've got some Elden Ring to do and I'd like to have a chat with you. Just generally. What is it again? Tigrex, yeah. Yeah, Ethan and I have been trying to catch up all week and we just haven't been able to because our schedules are aligning really terribly. They used to align very well, but things changed. They sure did. I don't know why I keep yawning. Maybe the food is catching up with me, because I did eat quite a lot before recording and now I'm like quite drowsy. I don't know if you're ever like that, after you've had a lot to eat and you've had to process all this food and then you get really sleepy. That's me. That's my experience. I will carefully watch the result of this recording setup. In other words, the video that is created with it. I'm going to see if it's good. It will be good. It will obviously be better than the last recording. I'm just wondering if there are ways in which I can improve on it to properly pronounce the words that I'm using. There is always room for improvement. But this has been a pretty drastic improvement from the last recording. It must be said. Trying to get my orange if I could. There it is, it's the back legs. So wing is white, head is red, back legs are orange. I don't know if it's really worth going for a mount. I guess I'll go for it, but he's quite low to the ground. So it's a bit harder to get the mount off successfully. See? It's fine in 4 Ultimate, but I feel like the functionality of mounting attacks is not quite as good in this game, and it is obviously by design. If I delay my mounting attack, I can only get 1 off. Which really isn't that great, but anyway. I really wanted to be more aimed on the head, but I really fucked that up. So I just lost a whole lot of damage because I was really off target. We probably could have taken a whole 10 seconds off this hunt if I had properly aimed for the head during that period of vulnerability for Mr. Tigrex. Oh no. See, check that out. That right there is why the verticality of not only 4th gen, but this particular area is just absolutely fucking terrible. Because we're on a decline, I unfortunately was unable to use my Extract Hunter to hit this fucking monster. What a joke. I'm really pissed off about that. This guy's name, O, it's his cat's name, but it's very distracting just seeing this O floating around. It's different if it's a name, but if it's just that little circle floating around on the screen behind the monster, it's a fucking distraction and it's dumb. I'm sure he thinks it's quite funny, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. Not at all. See that little O? Well, we can't see it now, but there it is. Oh. Nicely done. But yeah, I will be doing all of my, I guess what you could call test recordings. This is not really a test recording, this is properly part of the Doomlink's Live Hunt series, but all of these recordings where I'm trying to get things sorted out are designed to ensure that everything that I record in the, you know, Let's Play series that I do and my Doomlink's Live Hunt series is to ensure that those look as good as they can be. Because quite frankly, it might sound strange, but those are actually more important to me as a content creator. They have much less viewership, but as far as what they are, they're always so much better than these recordings. This is a very long form, very random sort of recording process. But I enjoy the structure of a live Let's Play and a live stream playthrough on my channel. I think they're always better videos. So even if they're viewed less, I'd like to keep the standard high with those. It's just so refreshing to, you know, for example, look through some of my older recordings and find a Minish Cap recording, and I'm going through the Minish Cap, you know, live and furnishing the audience with an insightful and comprehensive commentary. It's like, okay, well, I'd like to do that more often. Honestly, that description might make it sound better than it actually is, so proceed with caution, don't set your expectations too high. But, yeah. I enjoy doing live Let's Plays and the like. It's good. And I will be returning to that soon. I'm just going to try to finalize this setup and make sure it looks as good as it can be. Before doing that. Yes, I agree, Pablo. Not fun at all. Alright, well, I hope you all enjoyed. This is the second recording that I have done since returning. It is the 20th of March 2022, and I will see you all when I'm next recording Monster Hunter or anything else of mine that you would like to see in the future. Bye bye for now.